Welcome back to episode 12 of our Let's Play. You join me in the basement, having not long installed our first crafter for our refined storage. Currently empty, ready to accept some things, which is what we're going to get started on today. I've also moved our drawer controller underground now, so the cable isn't just winding its way across the floor. Expanded a few bits and pieces. We've got some more spaces for compacting drawer items and the like. I've not changed our generator situation as yet. I think principally just because I'm going to go with different heat and cold sources and see if that steps it up. I think I might have miscalculated how much energy this kicks out in one tick with the lava and water. So when we get to uranium, we'll be popping those in there, and we'll also be making a pick that can get ourselves ice, or alternatively a block that can form ice for us for the other slots. Also popped in a smelting factory for the three for the quicker smelting options there. Still got the one upstairs, but having the factory for when we get more power generation is just going to make life a little bit easier. But the biggest change has been the command center. We've got more of the different monitors. So crafting monitor is one of the things that's useful later. It will show what steps crafting process we're in. We've got the pattern grid, which was the monitor I was talking about last time for teaching it how to make the various different types of patterns, which we'll go through later on. We've also got the fluid grid because we have got a disk drive with fluid storage. So I've now got the ability to just pull creosote oil out of here, provided either this has a bucket in it or there's a bucket in my inventory. So if I click here, the bucket from my inventory is used and I have a bucket of creosote. So it's very handy rather than having to go back and forth and everything like that. And also means I can use the creosote in a recipe itself. So those have been the big changes. I've also widened this out and just moved the chest on top of the pattern chest over there. Oh yeah, and the other aspect, I've put a hardened fluiduct on here, so I don't have to come over and manually keep clicking. This will output the liquid as long as this has a redstone signal, so I can turn this lever off if I need to do anything manually, or if I'm doing anything on this side of things. But whilst I'm doing the just quick processing of stuff, this will just work for us. So before we get started with the pattern generation, we're just coming up to night time. We've got I do need the wand. Which, did I put it in here already? I think I moved it into there. Got one thing we want to make over here. We're going to need star metal, and that requires another tool. So we're going to go up and make that. We're going to make ourselves a linking wand. This means that we can link blocks to crystals, and the way that this works, no, I've done that one. Is it like that? Close, not quite. There we go. So the way that this works is it will take a crystal that exists in the world, so like in those temples, and connect it to a block, in this case iron ore, and we'll turn it into star metal ore. The linking tool is also used for other bits and pieces later on, like connecting ritual crystals to anchors so that we can move the effects around based on like mirrors and the like. Don't know what is going on today. Also set out this, which is where our attunement altar is going to be, So that will have our attunement alter, but in order to make the attunement alter, we need star metal. So we will go and do that during daylight hours. So let's get back and sort out our crafting. There's no need to head out just yet. So I will, while I remember, just pick up some of this iron. I'll take a quarter of a stack for now. So, patterns. The first thing you're going to need for any pattern is the actual part that stores the information. So, glass, quartz enriched iron, redstone. Nice and simple. So we take one of these. Now the first one that I always like to do, teach it how to make more of itself. So if I now go and put this in here, very simply, if I come up here and just search based on, there's a way to search only craftables, there we go. So if I click on this, I can now tell it how many of these I want to make. So make 10. So it tells me to make 10 of these, it will need 30 glass, which is available, 30 redstone, which is available, and 30 quartz enriched iron, which is available. Fantastic. Let's just start that, and boom, starts ticking along and making those. So now we can take those out and put them into here. Now, this requires 2 processed items. Quartz enriched iron is not something that we can naturally just get. It's combine iron and quartz, and glass again needs to be smelted sand in order to make. We can teach it how to make glass. That's going to be a slightly trickier one. We're going to need another crafting, another crafter itself, and a dedicated. Well, not necessarily a dedicated furnace, but a furnace that is dedicated just to that crafter. But the quartz enriched iron, we can definitely teach it how to make that. So let's teach it that 3 iron ingots and another quartz equals 4 quartz enriched iron. So putting that in there now, if we ran out of quartz enriched iron, we would just straight up be able to make some more. It will go through every process that it needs to in order to make what is there. So the next thing we want to do is teach it how to make a crafter, because these are the things that we're going to be carrying on using more and more and more. So we need to teach it how to make a raw basic processor. And we need to teach it how to make a construction core. We're not going to be able to teach it, well, we are going to be able to teach it how to make the basic processor itself, which is smelting that. So there is a few steps we're going to need a furnace for. We need to teach you how to do that one. And the advanced processors. And finally, the machine casing and the crafter itself. So this will then let us make patterns and crafters. So we've got space for one more thing in here at the moment. And if you hold down shift when you're in the crafter, it will show you what it is that is in here. So we need to also make another crafter in order to have these. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, that is right. That is right. So step 2. Let's just go back to these and just cook up 2 of these. Oh, we're missing processor binding. Right, okay, there was something I missed. I need to teach it processor binding. No, that's not teaching. Now, the question is, what type of slime do we want to use? Because it can be ore dictionary, so it knows, but I'd rather it just use the blue ones. Because they're easier to get at this stage. We can always change it out later, because if you don't like what's in the pattern, you can shift click it and it will forget what's in there. So there we go. So we'll need to manually make the in-between stages for a moment, but if we make 2 of these, start that, and make 2 of these, start that, boom. So let's go and cook those. And these will go into here because we've got no space for them. And what happens if we try and make that? So we're missing 2 of that and we're missing 1 of that. So we can't start it yet, but those will come through in a moment when the furnace is done. We have enough quartz, we have enough of everything else, so we'll be able to make a crafter just straight up. Important thing to note, the preview does not update as more ingredients come in. You have to like go back into it. So now we have everything, we can start, and it will go through all of the crafting iterations. So the steps take time. Now that's where having multiple crafters is actually useful. If you spread out a queue of things across those crafters, so for example, if I wanted to make a chest, if I put the thing that takes the oak wood, turns it into planks, turns the planks into the chest itself, all in the same one, it will have to do the first part of turning the oak into planks, all of them, and then go into the other part. So something seems to be... of course, crafter currently has nowhere to go, because at the moment all of these store specific things. So we need to find a way to get it to have a place to go. So for now, what we'll do is we will just unlock one of these so that anything can go into it. So this crafter is one we are now going to put behind the furnace, or underneath the furnace is probably the easiest way. It's not ideal actually, but you know. So now we can teach this. Bottom is going to be input, output is blue. I think this should work. This bit definitely will. Okay. I just need to run more of the cable over to it. So let's go get some of that. Later we'll be getting a wireless wireless device so that we can access our inventory wherever we are in the base, but for now we want to put another type of cable under there, which we're going to make something that pulls from that chest. So what do we need for that? We want an importer, so we need an improved processor and a destruction core. It doesn't know how to make the improved processor, so we're just going to have to make one of those for now. It wants a destruction core, which we can tell it how to make 2 of the bits. In fact, here we go. Let's not try and get silly with it, because it will do some unusual things. So just cook these 2 up. Okay, now we can do something a little bit different. So just put that under that. So now any item that lands in there will be pulled into the inventory. You can see where this starts going with the automatic crafting of the furnace. So what we want now is to do processing, and we want to teach it that a raw basic processor turns into a basic processor, an advanced processor does the same. And then we go and put these should have left that open, would have made more sense. And now I've got myself stuck because that's slightly below. There we go. So put those in there. Now it knows that if it puts a raw basic processor into this smelting factory, it will get out of it another part. So we're missing 2 string because we need some more for the processor binder, so we'll just go and get that from our farm. We'll later teach it how to make string from the various items that can do it. So I'll get a 8 string, that's enough for now. So yeah, so we want to teach it all of the bits and pieces that it's going to need, because we're also going to need silicon at some point, and that is going to come from building this other crafter and putting it underneath the device, the crushing factory, because we can teach it that cobble becomes gravel and gravel becomes sand and sand becomes silicon, so that it will never run out of any of the items. So let's start that off, and we can go and actually watch it in operation, so you can hear just about maybe that the factory's kicked on with the processors. And this is why I've gone for a factory rather than just a straight up normal furnace, because this way it can do multiple things in one go. Now hopefully the fact that that cable is going back through the crafter means that it recognises that it has completed that craft job. If it doesn't, we're in a bit of a trouble. So this is why we've got the crafting monitor. It recognises it, that's good. So the crafting monitor tells you where things are up to in processors. So that is great that that knows that. We also want to teach that sand equals glass, and similarly to this one, there'll be a few parts there. So let's make some more patterns and do that. Although, actually, let's run across to the astral place very quickly. It's mid-afternoon, we should be fine. Should really probably make a good path and add all of that in, so that I've got a clear way to go with these things. Yeah, okay, so astral temple that we've dug out. Steps down into the basement area. Excellent. Right. Let's just plunge that hunger gauge. So, place down the iron ore. Click your linking tool to select the collector crystal, and then select the block. And you can see it will just start outputting a line. And what I'm going to do is just dig around it. Just to note it as to which block it needs to be in. So if we come back at a later time, we've got the ability to do it. This does function faster at night. I probably should have considered that side of things, but let's have some copper over here. At the same time, not having mobs drop down on you while you're doing it is kind of nice. I didn't think it was this slow. Well, that's the process anyway. You put the item down, link it with the crystal with the linking tool. You get the particle effects coming off it, and at some point it will turn into star metal. Comes this nice little shiny blue ore. Yeah, so we'll leave that going. I'll do those off camera. So that we've got that to play with next episode. Let's get back to crafting if it's going to take some time to do it. Probably just come back at night and try and do it as safely as I can. I.e. without too many creeper explosions. That's the inevitable things. Probably also cover that up at some point. It's a bit of a trip hazard there, but hey. Right, so let's get on with our pattern processing. So we want 10 more of these. So it needs to craft quartz enriched iron this time as well. So if we go over to here, you can see it's in the process of doing this. It's making all of the bits and pieces for there, and all done. So pop those in here. So this time we want to teach it that sand just one sand equals 1 glass, just in case it runs out glass the next time, and that would go in there. So this can now, aside from the string issue, make absolutely everything needed for more crafters. So we could make crafter after crafter after crafter and put them down in the basement underneath and just teach it all of the recipes. So I'm not going to do every single one of those on camera, but that's the basic principle. You either have it as a freestanding block over here with items that you would craft on a crafting bench, or you can put it next to a machine. I've just realised I need to turn that into the input. Or you put it under a machine or behind or wherever, and have it put the items in order to get the result that you want that way. So between episodes I'll start drawing those up. I'll carry on my search for uranium. I've got like enough for half a block. I'm going to need 2 blocks for this, obviously. And I think the other thing we're going to look at doing soon is going to be making our banister in here, because I want to get rid of this in between bit. I want to be able to look down. I want to start making this look a little bit nicer. So that's going to be using chisel, which is why I'd isolated these bits. We're going to be using chisel and bits, which is a nice little crafting mod. So we'll do a little bit of that next time, I think. So thank you for watching this one, and join me next time for some actual decoration. See you there.